We're live.
Wow.
We are
I'm
live.
sober.
Yeah.
Wow, Boner has an awkward erection right now.
Oh, you don't know why. I grabbed some.
Well, I just saw that somebody was listening to KMFDM, and right underneath it, he said, "I've gotten a boner," and I'm like, "Wow, money gets you that hot, huh?"
No, you don't.
I walked
understand.
outside underneath the porch light, and there was like a moth cloud.
Well, better that than the swarm of mosquitoes we've been getting.
Ugh.
Oh man, I was outside practicing a couple of weeks ago and I ran into a cloud of gnats and they went into my fucking eye and I had to drop my equipment and run inside and I had bugs in my eyes. It was so nasty.
Oh my god. Ew.
So, how drunk are you again?
I'm way fucking drunk. I'm in my 5th glass.
Yeah.
Dude, it tastes really good. It's a spiced peach mead, so I took fresh peaches.
Ooh.
And I put them in with I have 3 pounds of honey and like a couple of cups of spring water, and then I put in a few cinnamon sticks and a 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg and a couple of cloves, and it sat for 2 months.
See, I'm an alcoholic. I can't be messing with stuff like that. I'd be like, I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I'd be having problems.
Okay. Well, I also make homemade sodas, like the actual old-fashioned ones, like root beer and stuff. I would give that to you because a lot of my friends, they don't drink all the time. So I will make them like root beer, or I've made them fruit punch soda. I've made an orange vanilla soda.
Oh, shit. Back in '88, I had this Filipino guy. He came in, he was an E2, and he was like, I know how to make ginger ale. And I'm like, bullshit, you do. And so he went to the commissary and got a bunch of shit, and then he grabbed a bunch of stuff and made what looked like it looked like he was making booze. And then he put all these soda bottles that he recapped into one of the bunkers, and they sat there for like 2 months, and he got them out. And I'll be goddamn if it wasn't ginger ale. And it was good stuff.
I actually have the recipe for Victorian era ginger beer, and not the alcoholic kind, but like the traditional ginger beer with you make with the fresh ginger. So like I would gladly make that for you guys.
Can you send me that recipe? I'd love to try that.
I got to clear a few things up, Kat. The reason there are KMFDM quotes in there is that for the description of the show, it just says blah, 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 KMFDM sucks.
Oh, okay.
Which was an actual review I once read in a magazine.
Are you
read
serious?
Or wrote?
Read.
Okay, because that sounds like something you'd write as well.
No. And you're going to love it because it was a section in a magazine and it was called Review Your Own Damn Record. And that was KMFDM's review of their own.
Sasha?
I was going to say Sasha something.
Yeah.
And Lucia is the, I can't remember her. It's Lucia something, the Italian chick from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who has some of the best eyeshadow in the world.
But that was what I put down for the description of the show. That's why there are KMFDM references. As for the weirdest boner, this is the thumbnail.
Does that mean I have to come off the front porch and look? What is it?
It is of a very busty woman.
I should probably
She's got a nice rack.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go and take a look at that real quick then.
Her tits are bigger than her head.
Okay, now I'm interested.
Oh, hey, guys, I have some good news. So I have a couple of friends who are hardcore Hellraiser fans, and they watched the new trailer for the new Hellraiser movie, and they said it didn't suck. So then I went and watched it. I'm actually excited.
Yeah,
so it passes the sniff test, huh?
Yes. Actually, it takes place in between Hellraiser 1 and 3. So it's in the time frame between there.
So it's basically where 2 is.
But it looks like it's a little bit past 2, so I'm going to say between 2 and 3. I was highly impressed. They did not make Pinhead's nails look like jewels. but some of them have pearls on the end instead. So they're kind of trying to switch over to the way Pinhead looks, the Hell Priest looks in the books with the jeweled pins. I was like, okay, you guys are kind of catching my attention here. I'm having a little hope. So I just thought that was some good news because I just watched a trailer. I was actually excited.
Like, okay, I'm hesitant, but you know,
That
yeah,
is
my
good
curiosity.
news. That is
Okay.
definitely good news.
Cautiously optimistic, and not only that, the actress that they have playing Pinhead, that looks like they CGI'd out her tits. So that also, I was like, okay, Pinhead's not necessarily. They're really going for the androgyny in this one.
Cool.
Well, you know, if they're trans, they might not have tits.
No, Jamie Clayburn does have breasts.
Oh, okay.
The only reason I know that is because she had a nude scene in Sense8, and those were definitely breasts. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
So, yeah, because I know our audience, I decided I would just, you know, provide them with Japanese MILF comics.
Is this something that Sid Snap recommended?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
God, look at that. I love it.
Yeah, this is Japanese MILF comics. It's an actual genre.
Yeah.
Are those
See, why
the ones?
wasn't
Oh,
why
go
wasn't
ahead.
why wasn't this shit around when I was like 20?
I think we're all asking that question.
Yeah, I think
Actually,
we are.
yes. Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
it's kind of bullshit. I mean, now I know how my grandfather must have felt. You know, it's got to be this bullshit. You know. Of course, you know, my grandfather, he fought in World War II. He must have been like, yeah, I fought the Nazis, and then TV comes out. What kind of shit is this?
So there you go.
Oh, now are these is that more the hentai genre with the MILF comics where like the milk actually comes out of the boobs? Because that's kind of scary.
I didn't grab any of that crap. I'm not even.
Well,
I'm
actually,
not touching that.
I was
Ah,
asking
you just
if it
smear
was
that shit into the
hentai or
cleavage and use
ecchi.
it for. Never mind. Never mind. Let's not blow the channel out.
What did I miss?
I said, well, with the milk, you just smear it down the cleavage and use it for lube the titty fuck. Everybody knows that shit. I mean, that's milk 101.
Never had that experience.
It's actually
neither.
pretty fun.
I've touched a lot of boobs in my life, but never had that experience.
Oh my God, my wife was like 8 months pregnant, and I had this dream that it was raining blood. And I wake up, right, and she's laying on her back, and she's squirting milk up into the air, and it's raining down on my face.
Oh my God! What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that can happen. Yeah,
Sorry.
the
So
pressure
those
builds up.
volcano jokes aren't it?
Yeah, the pressure's enough that it'll squirt out. That's why they have to wear breast pads. A lot of women wear breast pads when they're pregnant, and
I had to wear breast pads all the time when I was breastfeeding Chris. One time I forgot to put them on because I was so tired, and I'm not gonna lie, I soaked my side of the bed when I woke up at the like 4-hour mark to feed him. I was like drenched. And I know that's like TMI, but I mean it's also the truth.
Well, it's also kind of funny.
Yeah.
Every teenage boy soaked his side of the. Oh wait.
I mean, that's like, you know, what gets me is, you know, these people that act like they know everything, and they'll be like, oh, it's bullshit. It's a myth that hearing a baby cry will make a woman's milk come in. I'm thinking, I've seen that shit happen. You'd see it in the store, like a baby would start crying, and you could see all the women who were pregnant would get this look on their face, and some of them you could see the front of their shirts just go wet, and you could see them like, God damn it.
Wow.
No, that's actually the truth. As a woman that had a baby, that is actually the truth.
What I love is when a baby realizes it knows a new noise, and they're in a store that echoes, and they'll be making their new noise, and the other babies will be like, I know a new noise too, and all you can hear across like Costco is like these babies making noise like, bah, and you'll hear another one, bah. You can see the parents, I'm so sorry. And it's like, what? They're practicing their new noise. Every baby does it.
No, that's actually true as well. Like Chris had this noise that he would make. He'd go ga ga ga, and
Yeah.
then you'd hear it down an aisle ga ga ga.
Yeah, it's babies practicing noises. That's how
I'm-
they learn to communicate.
It's
I'm
actually pretty
reminded
funny.
of, you know, All Dogs Go to Heaven, where they're basically lighting the fires of Gondor only with dog barks.
If you get enough babies that have discovered new noises in the store, it's something else.
You know,
go to,
Next time I go to Costco, that's now going to be in the back of my mind. It's like, okay, I'm going to be listening for the babies cooing at each other.
we
go to
used
Win.
have yeah.
What? Go
we
ahead.
used to have a friend who was busty, and she worked 24/7 around kids,
Oh God.
babies,
Oh God.
and she swore that it made her tits grow.
It might have.
I would totally think that would. I'm not lying.
I mean, I'd be like, okay, sounds legit. I've heard of weirder things.
Well, I mean, if you hold a newborn and it's hungry, male or female, it's going to root around looking for a nipple.
Yeah.
And if
I've
you're a
had
male
that
and
happen.
finds a nipple, it's going to try and latch.
I've had that happen.
No, the funny part, Kat, is when my sister was nursing,
hmm
and you were still substantially bigger than her, and the kid looks over to you and decides to try and go for you.
Yeah.
The baby started reaching for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're standing my sister, she's nursing, the kid looks over to Kat and goes, "Oh!"
Bigger, that means more.
That means
Oh,
more.
that was Julian, right? Yeah, that was Julian.
Yes, that was Julian.
Yeah, the baby's brain works enough to go bigger equals more.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
you
man.
go up at least a cup size when you're pregnant and you're nursing. So, like, I'm not surprised that the baby was like, "Oh, hey, she's got bigger tits than my mom. That means more milk."
Makes sense.
Yeah.
My
Like
mom
I
said that she
literally went up a
size.
cup or two. I think I went up a cup or two when I was pregnant with Chris and I was nursing. I couldn't fit into any of my bras. I had to get specialty bras because that kid made me bigger than I was supposed to be. Which that's fine. I was great with that. I was like, sweet dude, I have even bigger tits than I already had.
So,
But yeah,
like, were you like one of those blessed women who got to keep them?
No, sadly, in my family on my mom's side, everybody's got huge tits, but our curse is, yes, we go up a couple of sizes, but then we do sag. Apparently, when I was a kid, I told my mom and my grandmother, I'm sorry that their boobs melted.
Oh. Oh man.
I actually told them that, and they told me that when I was older. I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry.
Oh man. Yeah, I got taught early that the big ones always sag anyway, so it didn't surprise me none.
Hey, look, you know what? I'm fine with them being saggy. I still have several wonderful push-up bras that make them look not saggy, so I'm fine.
Oh, engineers can do some amazing shit.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, youth doesn't last forever.
Oh God, can you
the
imagine if it
idea
did?
that they're going to stay perfect forever is just ridiculous. So,
Except if you're cat who keeps growing.
No,
Like-
I think I stopped. Did I stop?
I think so. I mean, I know that the last time we measured you, you went up a size.
Yeah, that's true.
That's actually a condition. You can go in and be like, "Hey, I need you to do something about this shit."
Well, it's a slow
I won't
growth.
let you if that happens.
It's a slow growth. I
Oh, it's slow. Okay.
it's slow. Well, yeah, I went up a cup size from 3 or 4 years ago when we last measured.
I mean,
so.
if you end up turning into like like Lorna Morgan, who just like
Oh, you'd hate it.
that
I
was
know.
pregnancy though. Every time she got pregnant, she got bigger.
There are some happy babies right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no! It was if you turn out to be like Rachel Aldana, where it just never stopped. We're gonna have to argue.
I'd just be happy with OS on it.
Oh,
You're
Dark
bigger than that.
Stranger? Yeah, I know Jamie Clayton is a trans woman because I watched Sense8. So, yeah, I know. I was surprised that there was no boobs on Pinhead when they were playing them. Sorry, I've seen a couple of his posts for me.
So yeah, how the hell did we get on this topic?
I'm sure
Your
I
milk porn.
probably did it.
Oh yeah,
You're
milk.
You're MILF born. Yeah.
It's all your fault.
It is all my fault. Well, I'm okay with it being my fault.
For
though.
once, it's not my fault.
You know, honestly, Ralts, when you've been on the show, hardly anything has been your fault. It's either been Ishi, Kat, or I that have done something, which that's totally fine.
And then you manage to outdo it, whatever it is.
I'm on my good behavior.
I was going
Why?
to say, Ralts just runs with it.
Because I don't know. I'm in a good mood today. I mean, I've been in a good mood. I've been in a good mood since I got up. Yeah.
Hey.
I got up in the morning with a big smile, and for once, I didn't have a coat hanger stuck in my mouth. Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's from an old it's a Mad Magazine cartoon. The guy sits up in bed and he's got a big smile. And he looks at his wife, and his wife goes, "Damn it," and snatches a coat hanger out of his mouth and goes, "Stop walking, you sleep in the closet." And God, I read that was like from the 70s, and that's stuck in my head ever since.
You know,
Some shit just sticks.
It does.
I walk in my sleep. You know.
Oh, I don't.
I have not caught him with a coat hanger in strange orifices.
No. What we end up having is odd objects, things in weird places.
Yeah.
Like you get up and move shit.
Yeah, what were some of the hits like cereal bowls in weird places?
Cereal bowls in weird places. Your glasses in weird places.
My glasses in utterly bizarre places. There was the time that you said I was awake in the middle of the night with my face pushed up to the TV. With the volume up really, really loud.
That's actually why I woke up.
And that I was watching Galaxy Rangers.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but holy shit, what a sight.
Oh, no, I'm telling you because it's funny.
Yeah, he was watching Galaxy Rangers with the volume really freaking loud.
Which was a very short-lived show in the 80s that it had a lot going for it. I mean, the writing should have been tighter, but it was really cool. I don't know if anybody remembers it.
No. I had some sleep issues. It was when my kid was when the youngest was born, and we didn't know she was deaf, so we didn't understand why. When we put her in her crib and we turned off the light, she'd start screeching. Because we didn't know she was deaf, so she's already missing the ability to hear. So we turn off the lights, and now she can't see. So all she has left, And so we weren't getting any sleep. And my wife comes in, and I'm leaning against the refrigerator with my head against the refrigerator and the bottle in one hand, snoring. just dead asleep, leaning against the fridge.
Wow.
I don't think I've never slept walk, but Steve says that I have woken up a few times from bad dreams where I'm flailing, but he said he woke up one time to me punching and biting my pillow. And he asked me what I was doing, and I said the pillow had made me angry, so I was punishing it.
There's logic to that.
Yeah, and I don't remember doing this. I woke up to him laughing at me. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And that's when he said I'd been sitting there biting and punching my pillow for like 5 minutes. Like I was in an actual fight with the pillow. But apparently I flail a lot in my sleep when I'm halfway asleep awake and I'm having a bad dream. And I'll lash out trying to fight whatever is in my dream.
Kat doesn't have this problem anymore, but she used to talk in her sleep. And
I don't anymore. That's good to know.
No, you've completely stopped. I think whatever medication they got you on is pretty much
helping
put
with
an end to that. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
You don't really talk in your sleep anymore. But I remember, I would mess with her when she was sleeping, right?
Yeah.
If she was talking. And I remember once she's like, I go, yeah, I agree. And she goes, yeah, I know. And I was like, you know what, though? I have a question. What is it? Tell me, Kat, where have all the cowboys gone? And she says, they're fucking outdated.
She said what?
She said they were fucking outdated.
How could you?
They were outdated, and there aren't cowboys anymore.
It's amazing.
Unfortunately, I had the bad thing where if I did wake up enough to move around, I usually, did something dumb like, karate chop my wife in the throat, or she'd punch me, or I'd punch her. So yeah, I think the funniest stuff we had was when the kids were little. Like I fell asleep doing dishes because
God.
you just end up so fucking tired because they do not stop. And for the first couple months, if you ever have a kid and think you're gonna get sleep, joke's on you. You're
I don't
never sleeping again.
I don't remember the first 4 months of Chris. I really don't. Because
Sleep deprivation.
the sleep deprivation. I can remember everything after the first 4 months, but yeah, Chris, since he was a big boy, was always hungry. And so like it was always like he was up. And so yeah, it got to the point where he had to get formula because that kid was just like, feed me, Seymour, now.
A buddy of mine was all like, he had his wife had his first kid, and he's all like, man, I passed Special Forces Q course, man. Taking care of a baby for the first couple months is going to be shit. I'm like, it's broken better men than you. And like a month later, he comes into work, and he comes in, he goes, hey, listen, I'll give you $1,000 if you let me go into your room and sleep for like 3 hours. I'm like, what happened, Mr. Q course? He's like, I want to die. Because his wife had to stay in the hospital for like 3 weeks because she got an infection. And so he's got the baby because she had an infection in her bloodstream. She can't breastfeed. So he's at home with this baby with formula. And I was like, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you call anybody in the unit? You don't even have siblings. You were like an only child and you're trying to do this on my own. He's like, I want to die. He's like, I'll tell that child whatever it wants. Just make it stop. And he's got the baby with him. And I'm like, why is the baby's diaper on sideways? I'm like, dude, you don't even know how to change a diaper. He's like, well, I looked at the package. I'm like, it was like, this is like one of these guys that, he'd be like the star of an action movie. And this kid fucking broke him.
Wow.
Look, I remember I'd be so tired that I wouldn't latch Christopher's diaper properly, and there would be accidents. I'd just be like, oh, whoops. I forgot to latch it.
I don't even
shit
care.
Everywhere.
What's the line? I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, I would be so tired. I actually remember one morning I woke up and Steve was getting ready for work, and he was taking longer than usual. So I went in, see how he was doing. I found him sitting on the floor of the shower with his hands resting on his head, or his head resting on his hands, just like sitting there because he was so fucking sleep deprived. So sleep deprivation is definitely a thing when you have a kid. I think Chris was like a couple of weeks old when that happened.
No, we actually had something like that happen. It's like 2 years ago when COVID first went around. Everybody in the house caught it, and I got lucky because I caught it first, and we caught it like November 2019. Because good old Fort Riley, and so we got it because reasons, and I was actually kind of the first one to recover because I got it first, and everybody had to take care of me because I got damaged lungs. And for a while, everybody in the house was sick but me. And I was like, I hate this. But at least, the youngest person in the house is like 4. So, but still, everybody being sick reminds you of the days when you have like a bunch, like when you have 3 little kids. Because mine are only separated by 2 years and then 3 years. When the kids got sick, it was pretty much over. And if you have more than one kid, you've been there.
Okay, I can't imagine what it's like. Okay, so even before I had a kid, just you bringing home a sickness and then giving it to your spouse is horrible enough. And I worked in a school district, so I brought wonderful things home to Steve that he had never experienced before.
Schools are bioweapons labs.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, they're all carrier monkeys. All children are carrier monkeys. They are vectors.
And they hug each other and trade hats, and
they pick their noses and then wipe it on their friend's face because I have my boogers.
Well, that's like everybody. That's like what got me is everybody's like, oh, we're gonna send the kids back to school wearing masks, and I just busted up laughing because I was like, you don't have kids, do you? Because it's flat out. You give your kid an Iron Man face mask, COVID mask to go to school with, he's going to come back with the Hulk because his friend likes Iron Man.
Exactly.
Yep.
No, it's true. My
And
son
then you're
is
going to be shocked.
my son is such a germaphobe that he has actually followed other kids out of the bathroom screaming, "You didn't wash your hands!"
My mom taught me not to.
Literally letting the entire school know that child did not wipe their hands or wash their hands after
My mom
peeing.
taught me not to pee on my fingers.
I am suddenly reminded of George Carlin. It's like, yeah, I do wash my hands after I shit on them.
Okay, so I got one here for Wolf. This one's for Wolf.
Ooh, she's pretty. No, like seriously, she's pretty.
Yeah, I believe she's a power lifter.
I'm looking at her. It's like, yeah, she can play Noi.
I miss those days.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
those
my
biceps.
wife was thicker across the waist, though. My wife had the power lifter waist.
Nice.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was talking about with the
Your
softball.
wife
lifter.
sounds
Earlier,
hot.
yeah, his wife was a power lifter so that she could. Well, you tell the
Oh,
story.
so she could
Oh.
lift people and.
Yeah, well, she was a combat medic in the Army, and one of the things is you don't want to be the medic that couldn't yank the guy out of a burning vehicle.
Yeah.
So she did a lot of powerlifting so that she could snatch a guy out of a burning vehicle and put him over her shoulders and run. And
Damn,
which
your
meant she
wife's
was hitting a lot of
amazing.
weight. She hit the weights a lot.
She's fucking amazing that she actually factored that in and took the time to build herself up. That is so amazingly cool.
Well, only about half of the girls who are combat medics actually do. I don't know about now, but it used to be this real divide between the girls who pumped iron and the girls who didn't. And the ones who pumped iron said that the ones that didn't were just joining the Army to get a husband or get the GI Bill. And the ones who didn't pump iron said that the other ones are just gorillas. And they were too.
I'd rather
They were
take
too
the
stupid.
gorillas.
Yeah.
Well, which one do the boys respect? There's the question.
It depends. Do they want to stick their dick in them? Well, wait.
I said
It all depends
respect.
Yeah.
What?
Let's see.
I'd stick my dick in this woman.
Well,
The
I would
gorillas were
too.
the ones that were gorillas were fun. Yeah. The ones that were gorillas were fun because they go out water skiing with you at the lake and do dumb shit. There's all kinds of you get in all kinds of dumb trouble.
See, that's in my head canon how Rogue should look in X-Men.
Oh, Rip.
Is that gorgeous power lifter look. Like, it always bugged me that they never made her look like She-Hulk. Yes, I know she had super strength, but she should have had like the big tits and then like all the gorgeous muscle to go around with it to show her super strength. That's just me.
Well,
I guess I'm picky.
I like
A lot of
that.
guys do like the big bulky, and the big muscular. Yeah. And it's this weird thing where it's like chubby chaser and muscular,
No, hey, no. We can go down. I like all kinds. Definitely
Yeah.
the bulky power lifter. Thick is good.
Yeah. I couldn't handle the skinny ones. I couldn't handle the really scrawny ones because 6 foot tall, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. Yeah, it's got to feel like it's got to feel like I'm a moose. Like, I'm gonna break this chick.
Yeah, you're really tall, so but yeah. I
Ooh.
yeah, that's a
Is
belly
she
dance.
the belly dancer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm outside again because I can be loud. See, I don't have any
Sorry.
neighbors. I don't have any neighbors that care.
Rip's good too. Just all
Oh, is
across
that
the board.
Autumn Ivy?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Autumn Ivy.
Wait,
But,
I think I know what you're talking about with Autumn Ivy because I think she was all mad because they didn't hold the auditions for She-Hulk. They just picked some random chick and used CGI.
I
Autumn
would have
Ivy, 'cause-
totally been down with her being She-Hulk. I'm not joking. Like, her cosplays are fantastic.
Well, to me, it just speaks of narcissism and stupidity and laziness that they went with pure CGI instead of having two different actresses, because She-Hulk looks nothing like her alter ego.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. Well,
I think her alter ego is blonde and narrow-faced with glasses and a weak
Right.
chin.
She was real mousy.
Yeah, and like lopsided boobs.
But just real quickly, going back about 10, 11 conversations, if boobs keep growing on cat, I have no complaints if it's like this, No complaint whatsoever.
Oh God, I had a girl ended up in my on my crew that had a breast problem. She gets to the unit, she's 19. She's all like, yeah, in basic training, I went from A cup to B. I'm like, well, that's nice. Yeah, I'm not thinking anything of it. And then she comes up and she goes, hey, I need to go to the PX. My bras are not fitting right. And I'm like, you know what? You can wait until we go to the PX next month. And she pulls down her brown shirt and shows she's got big, thick red lines on her boobs. And she's like, they're not fitting. I'm like, those aren't B cups. I'm like, those aren't B cups. I'm a dude. I know B cups when I see them. And so I took her in. And then like a month later, she's like, I got to go to the PX. I'm like, are you wearing a bra? She's like, no. I'm like, those aren't C cups. Those are D. And finally, the Army relented when she had some stupid shit where she couldn't even find bras. I mean, she looked like a fool. She's like 5'2", and her boobs are just massive. And they ended up having to do a reduction surgery because she couldn't lay on her back. She literally could not lay on her back. She couldn't do push-ups. She couldn't do sit-ups. She couldn't lay on her back. It was like, you look ridiculous.
So it was one of those cases where they really were actually too big.
Yeah, and she got them dropped all the way back down to the seat. And she's like, I can breathe. Oh, God. I would walk up behind her. She'd be standing there struggling. I'd walk up behind her and put my arms underneath her boobs and lift them up. And she'd go, like that.
Of course, at 5, what are it, 4'3"?
5'2".
5'2"?
Yeah.
5'2", C cup's quite sizable.
Yeah, they look good on her. Yeah, but still, I mean, for those of you who ever have a pregnant spouse, walk up behind them when they're about 7-8 months. Stand behind them so they can lean their back against your chest. Cup lace your fingers right at the bottom of the belly, right where it goes from the curve to flat for the pelvis, and lift very slowly and gently, just enough so you're holding the weight, and watch what she does, because she's gonna be like, oh my God, because you're lifting about 40 pounds off her spine.
Because lactation's heavy.
No.
The belly.
The belly.
Baby.
The baby.
Because the water of the baby, you do that like once or twice a day, and you're golden. I rolled the car and hit an endangered deer. Sorry about that, but I'm going to lift up your belly. Oh, everything's all right. Just stand there. I got drunk and got in a fight with Bigfoot. Don't care. Hold my belly.
Look, Chris was so ginormous that as far as I pushed back the seat in my car, I still couldn't fit behind the seat or with the steering wheel. One day I couldn't get my car and drive. I actually pushed the seat all the way back, and he was so fucking huge. It's 7 months that I couldn't drive. I had to call my doctor's appointment and be like, I can't come. I can't drive. My child is making it impossible to do so.
Did you get the ultrasound echo?
Yes.
My wife had so much water that there was an ultrasound echo, and they said twin boys, and surprise, one girl. A big girl, too.
No, they just said that Chris was all arms and legs because he was so long. They were just like, oh, wow.
I'll tell you, nothing will freak you out more when they pull that kid out so the head's sticking out and the eyes open up and the kid looks around. You're like, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. Because the kid looks around like, what's going on? Oh, man. So what are we supposed to be talking about tonight? What was on the docket?
Nothing.
Whatever
Absolutely nothing.
Dude,
But
I'm too
what's the great thing
shit-faced
about
to even
this
think
show?
of a topic.
Well, since we keep talking about perversities and fetishes, I said, I take all kinds, power lifters, thick, busty, all kinds. I mean, look, I have many different fetishes.
Hey, man, I cannot throw rocks.
Hey, the little girl with the cyber leg's pretty hot, in my opinion.
Yeah, she is hot, actually.
Actually, I was going to say, today's cyber prosthetics are actually pretty rad. Seeing men and women use them, it's like, oh my gosh, you're actually seeing the future happen.
They're a lot better than they were like 10, 12 years ago, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's amazing.
I saw this when I went to the VA a couple weeks ago. I saw this woman at the VA, and she had a prosthetic leg. And it was really cool because she had it all spray painted out. and she had the ego faces, or however you say it. You know, the girls.
Oh yeah, the orgasm face.
Yeah, it was entirely covered with the orgasm face.
Oh my god, I want that.
And down the side of it, it said, "I'm on my last leg." I saw it just busted up laughing, and she gave me a big thumbs up. And
That is so cool.
oh god, I made myself out to be such a fucking asshole. I went to the American Foreign Legion, which is, you know, someplace you can go if you've served overseas no more. And I went there, and I hadn't been to this post before. And I'm talking, there's a couple guys sitting there, and we're all BSing. And this one guy had obviously taken an IED, and because he had severe facial scarring from a burn, you know, and he had sat down, and, you know, I don't know any of these guys, and we're kind of, you know, exchanging who we are and everything. And I was like, oh yeah, it's all fun, you know, because we're all disabled. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's all fun and games till you know, you land on your back, and then it's funner because it's you. And I looked at the guy, and I could not stop my mouth. You ever had those moments where your mouth goes and you can't stop it?
Yes.
I looked dead at him. I looked dead at him and went, but you look like you had more fun than just about anybody here.
Oh,
And my brain is like, shut up, shut the fuck up. And he looks at me for a minute, and he just busts up, and he goes, you know, fun is not the way I would have put it about 5 years ago.
Oh,
Kat, what is the worst instance of me doing that?
worst instance of you doing that?
Yeah, no filter, just saying exactly what's on my mind.
I hate when
I mean, aside from the book presentation.
I am completely blanking on
Really? That's
stories.
surprising.
Yeah.
That's surprising, since you're the one that usually has to grab me and.
No, I'm just immediately thinking of, you know, all the instances that I've, you know, taken my foot and planted it, you know, squarely down my throat. You know, like,
I kept saying stuff to him too, you know, and I don't even know this guy, you know, and I didn't serve with him. I served with other people, you know. I kept saying stuff to him, including him and stuff, you know, and I thought for sure, but he kept busting up laughing. He kept laughing. You know, I'm walking out of the car, and I hear, "Hey," and I'm like, "Oh fuck, he's gonna kick the shit out of me in the parking lot because I can't punch him in the face." I'm not gonna be that guy. And he comes up and he looks at me and he goes, "I was injured 10 years ago." I'm like, "Yeah, you mentioned that." He goes, "You're the only one that's never backed away from my injury," and it was kind of fun to laugh about it. And he gives me this hug and goes back inside. I'm sitting in the car thinking, that motherfucker has like 6 inches of height on me and probably 4 inches of reach. He would have beat the shit out of me because he was strong as a tank. And I'm like, oh, thank God. I could have got my ass kicked, and I would have had it. You know, it would have been one of those. Yeah, you had that shit coming. Because, you know, you sit there and talk shit, and you know, I guess nobody had included him in the talking shit like I was.
That's cool though. Then, so, you know, he at least, you know, had fun.
Yeah, and you know, you just say stupid shit. My mouth is running, and my brain is going, "For the love of God, shut up!" But no, my mouth is still going. I do that shit all the fucking time. It's embarrassing as hell. I'm just one of those idiots.
No, we all have those moments, you know.
No, I can tell you the one that stands out in my mind where it was I knew exactly what I was doing and could not help myself.
What's the time that you're thinking of?
The book presentations where it was local writers' night at Galaxy Books.
Oh, that time. Okay, I know exactly the time. Yes.
And there was the one guy who had written this story about his, you know, for his son. And it was an adventure story about his son going on this adventure.
You're still pissed about this.
All the things
I remember
the kid
the story.
did. But the publisher accepted it and said, yeah, we like everything, but it needs to be a girl. And I think it actually had to be a girl of color.
Yeah, it did.
I would have lost my shit. Oh, he did it. He fucking did it.
Just fucking did it. And he even said, yeah.
And the thing is like that was part of his sales pitch for his book on why you should all read it. And it's just, dude, you're a dick.
So I got up and I was supposed to talk about my book.
I would have I would have said some bad things.
Well, Ishi filled those shoes for you.
I got up and it was my turn to get up on the little stage and talk about my book. And at the time it was it Titanium Rain or was it?
It was World War Kaiju.
It was World War Kaiju. And I hold it up and it was, well, this is my book, and it's about Jimmy the puppy boy, and it's a story about Jimmy. And you see, the thing is, the problem is that when Jimmy loves puppies, puppies are wonderful, but the problem is that every time Jimmy farts, a puppy dies. And he's got irritable bowel syndrome. He farts a lot, and a lot of puppies die, and it's just so painful for him. But yeah, I had a publisher. A publisher was very interested, but they said that Jimmy had to be a girl. And
Oh God.
And what was funny was the audience was having fun until that line came up, and everybody collectively went, "Oh shit!"
Oh fuck.
And I realized, I had to stay true to my story and keep Jimmy a little boy.
So I made him a kaiju.
You say, well, anyways, this is my other book, World War Kaiju. Check it out.
Yeah, the audience all had this look on their face like, is this happening?
Yeah, they didn't know how to
my
react,
God.
which was just fine.
I knew a guy. He wrote. This actually, you say that and it reminds me of something. I used to hang around military or something. I hang around vets because I'm a vet. You hang around people that have the same experiences. The ridiculous shit. And this guy wrote about his experiences in Afghanistan. And he wasn't part of, he wasn't there in like 2008. He was there, I think the date was September 17th, 2001. And he's on a horse, and he's writing about his experiences meeting with, basically helping build the Northern Alliance. So it's got combat, politics, showing people the Northern Afghanistan culture and everything. And this publisher is like, yeah, we'd love to publish it. And so he's all excited. And then he comes into the chat room one night and he is fucking pissed. This was like a year ago. And he is fucking livid. And we're like, dude, what's up? He's like, I'm trying to find out if I can back out of that contract. And we're like, why, man? You're getting a fucking first person account published of the early days of the war on terror. The early days of the war in Afghanistan. I was like, for fuck's sake, you were like the second American into Kabul. He goes, yeah, but the publisher calls me into a meeting and said I need to make the main character a lesbian woman of color.
What?
And I was like, let me get this straight. A true account from a special forces guy needs to be changed. And they're like, well, yeah, they said because women can be rangers and special forces now, I need to change it. And I'm like, wait a minute, isn't this basically a true account? You just changed some names and edited some stuff out people wouldn't believe. He goes, yeah. And they want you to change. He's like, yeah, I'm trying to get out of the contract.
Shit.
They wanted him to change what actually happened. Can I wake you up? Okay. Spring, love you. Sorry, one of my daughters was looking around the corner like, what the hell are you doing on the front porch, you crazy old man? But did Dad go crazy again? Yes, honey. But no, they wanted him to change it. And I was like, you have to. He's like, what do I do? I was like, did you spend any of the advance? He was like, no, I put it in a savings account. I was like, give them back their advance, tell them to go fuck themselves. I was like, don't make any changes to it or anything. I said, did you sign over I said, get a lawyer and check if you signed over the rights. Because they took this story about, one of the first guys on the ground, for fuck's sake, I think he went in like via parachute or some shit, or through Pakistan or some wild shit. I can't remember. And they wanted him to change it to a lesbian woman of color to be the main character.
No,
and it's
bullshit.
like, that wouldn't work with those guys in northern Afghanistan. They're like Bronze Age dudes with AKs. I mean,
well, that and it's completely trying to retcon history. I mean, besides the fact that this actually happened to this guy.
Well, they said, well, it's fiction. He goes, yeah, but it's fiction based on real things. This is like, most of it's a real account. I just changed a few things. and some national security shit. And they're like, well, still, we would like you to change it. And they've got the balls now to tell people, well, you need to change it, even though it's a historical account. You need to include a lesbian. Well, why? There wasn't a lesbian there. We need to add one. So you want me to add a character? No, we think there's too many characters. Get rid of some of the white males and add a lesbian.
This is
Jesus.
reminding me of our dealings with Hollywood lawyers, where they wanted North Korea to be fighting over water rights.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Fighting over water rights with who? With China? I could see that.
Okay,
but
with
otherwise,
in Titanium Rain, the story goes that in China, nationalists, there's a nationalist uprising that splits the country in two. It becomes a civil war. And
that'd be nasty.
The nationalist side has declared itself a dynasty. And so the country is tearing itself to shreds. And the world basically ends up getting involved for one reason and one reason alone, and that is because both sides have nukes.
And because we're all retarded, humans never saw a fight they didn't want to join.
And Britain actually, in this setting, decides, well, here's our chance to get Hong Kong back. So they're in it. But anyway, it's a clusterfuck, basically, of various factions going at it. But the big issues, basically, the Chinese nationalists have nukes, and nobody knows where they're keeping them.
Nobody knows if they're actually nukes or just styrofoam containers with nuke written on the side.
Well, yeah, they don't know. Yeah, exactly. They don't really know if the emperor has nukes or not. And then also the reason the U.S. gets involved is that the Chinese send a sub into Tokyo Bay and blow the crap out of it.
Now we're involved. Now we're involved.
And once they down a bunch of tankers and just raise hell.
We're the only ones allowed to blow up the Japs.
Japan is like days away from entering the war, and we show up and say, if you don't enter the war, we'll do it for you. You just stay, defend your homeland, we'll do it.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to have an army.
Because the last thing we want is now, basically what it was the nationalists wanted yet another reason to rile up the country to their side. Look, the Japanese are attacking us again.
You know what's weird is, everybody who's ever
guys,
paid any... Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, excuse me for a minute. My bladder is full. I will be right back.
Okay. Well, that's somebody's fetish right there. Anyway. What was it? Oh, funny thing is, if you've ever studied Asian history and everything, you'd know that if people think the KKK is racist toward black people, they have never met a Chinese or Japanese person talking about a Korean.
Oh, yeah. That's true. That's very true.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
Or a Japanese person talking about black people.
Yeah, or a Japanese person talking about that Japanese guy on the other side of the island.
Yeah. But basically, the U.S. gets involved because we're worried that if the Japanese attack, it'll rally the entire nation behind the nationalists. That's the only reason the U.S. is there. Basic rough outline of the world situation.
That makes sense.
When Hollywood tried to license it from us, and they did buy the option for 2 years, a year.
2 years. No, 1 year. 1 year.
1 year. So we got some money out of the option. They didn't want to offend China and had rewritten the plot. The war was actually North Korea trying to seize water from the Himalayas.
I want to see a North Korean soldier walk 2 miles uphill. I want to see
it. What did I say on the phone, Kat?
He just paused and said, "Have you looked at a map?"
Yeah,
that is all I said. Have you ever looked at a map?
I want to see a North Korean soldier walk 2 miles uphill. I want to see him do it without dying. I literally want to see him do it, because honestly, a long time ago, we were talking about the situation in North Korea, and it was after one of the famines, and it was kind of wondering if they were going to, get all food uppity and jump South Korea, and instead Russia and China just move some food to them, which is absolutely hilarious. The Russians and Chinese move all this food to North Korea, and not only did the North Koreans take the food, but they also took the train and kept the train.
Oh,
Okay,
geez.
what did I miss?
But one of the things was, what do we do if the North Korean soldiers attack South Korea? And we're sitting there, and one of the generals goes, well, those guys live off of like 300 to 400 calories a day. So the best bet is we just, when they're coming across the 1K zone, just have everybody huck MREs outside, and they'll eat the MREs and go into caloric shock and die.
Jeez.
And then, about 6 months later, they capture this North Korean sailor who fell off the ship. Get this, he literally fainted and fell off the ship. Do you know why he fainted?
Damn.
He fainted because of hunger.
Oh, geez.
And this Navy ship picks him up, and they give him the starvation diet that we in the West are used to. A couple teaspoons of mashed potatoes, a little bit of 1 or 2 teaspoons of vegetables, and a little bit of butter. That's to make your basic starvation thing. It damn near killed him.
Oh shit.
That's how bad these guys are. And it's like, so every time I see somebody saying, "Oh, North Korea is the big threat," I'm like, I could beat them with a box of Twinkies.
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God.
I can't remember her name, but she was an escapee from North Korea, and she went on tour a couple of years ago onto all the shows. She went on Tim Pool, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that
Her
woman.
Yeah, those stories that she told about escaping North Korea were fucking harrowing. I could not believe it.
The thing that creeped me out the most is I had just read Anthem by Ayn Rand, and how much the society she describes in Anthem was North Korea. That creeped the shit out of me.
I'm going to be honest. I have never read anything by Ayn Rand, or however the fuck you say her name. I've never read anything by her, because the only people I knew that owned the books when I was younger were real weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that, like a lot of people who are very intelligent, who make a lot of very interesting points, they get a cult of personality, and there's a certain class of people that suddenly deify them. Like how Jordan Peterson's a very brilliant man, but there's that weird following that like act like he's Jesus, right?
Yeah.
All he told them was to clean their room and wash their fucking dick. I mean, that's all he told them.
And lobsters.
You know what that tells me? That tells me that so many boys are hurting for a male figure in their life.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually what he said himself.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of people like that where they make a lot of good points, or they see something, or they write something, and you get this weird there's this group of people that suddenly it's a religious figure to them. And it's like, nah. Rand had a lot of really brilliant ideas, a lot of very insightful thinking, but she's human and she had tons of mistakes too. I mean, you shouldn't regard her work any more sacred than Nietzsche or anybody else,
And quite frankly, I think sometimes she thought too much with her lady dick.
Yes, I agree.
But seriously,
I love women like that.
Oh, I'll be honest. I'm sure Ayn Rand is a young woman with one hell of a fuck.
In Atlas Shrugged, there are scenes of the aftermath between Dagny Taggart and Reardon, and she's got bruises on her wrists and on her neck. She likes it rough.
So they really weren't kidding about Cheryl.
No, they weren't. In Archer, they were not kidding
about the choking.
No, they were not.
I've never gotten that. I've known a couple women that like choke, that I've never gotten that, because it's like, it takes like 12 seconds to fucking collapse somebody's trachea. Why do you want to fuck with that?
They like the blockage of what is it?
Like it.
I was gonna say, I'm really too shit-faced to think of your arteries that are on the side of your neck that you cut off the circulation to. That's what you do in grappling. Yeah. Some women, or even men, really like the feeling of that euphoria apparently they get having those blocked.
Yeah, but that's you dying.
Okay, well,
No.
I'm gonna make my comment, and then we're gonna jump back to this topic because it's far
Okay.
more interesting. Seriously, if you're gonna read anything by Rand, read Anthem. Okay, seriously, it's the best thing she wrote, in my opinion.
And it's short.
It's very short. It's barely a novella.
And there's no sex to distract you.
But the society she describes at the time, I just took as a 1984-esque setting. But then I listened to that woman from North Korea as like, that's an anthem. So is that. So is that. Like, if people invent something new, they get killed or beat up. If people find their own way to do something themselves, they get killed or beat up. There's no word I. There's no word for love. It's like, I just took this as a far-flung idea of like a dystopian. And then I find out, no, that's real in North Korea.
I saw a tweet that really sums this shit up. Authors go, I wrote this book to warn everybody about the dangers. It's called Don't Build the Torment Nexus. And politicians immediately go, after reading the book Don't Build the Torment Nexus, we're building the Torment Nexus.
Yeah. Well, for Rand, it was she escaped the Soviet Union, so that was her axe to grind, and
I'll never forget, I was a teenager and they were showing I think it was like Dateline or 2020 or some shit. And they had some video smuggled out of the USSR. And it was propaganda about the police and about how they handle drug dealers. And I'll never forget it. It showed this hidden camera in the window and it focuses in on this dude dealing drugs at the mouth of an alley. And this guy walks up behind him and just pulls out a pistol and shoots the dude in the back of the head and then drags him by the feet into the alley. And yeah, that's how they handle drug dealers in Moscow. I was like, damn, no trial, just dink. Wow. It's like, and they wanted people to know this shit? Wow.
Hey guys, I looked up Anthem by Ayn Rand, her novella, and it's only $5.89 on Amazon right now. If you have Amazon Prime, it can be delivered overnight. The only reason I know that is because I looked it up because I'm buying it right now as we speak. Because I haven't read Anthem.
That's a weird
Yeah,
price.
I need to read Anthem. I read Atlas Shrugged, but I haven't read Anthem.
Well,
yeah,
what's
strangely, I read the thick one.
Is she wrote Anthem and she tried to shop it around, and the literary community said, you don't like communism. Get lost. Mm-hmm. Seriously. So finally she gave up, and I think she got it published in Amazing Stories as as pulp sci-fi.
Weird. It's like every time they have the North Korean up there, like remember when they redid Red Dawn?
God, yeah.
Where they changed it from China to North Korea because China got mad.
Yeah. And I was watching that and I was thinking, North Korea doesn't have enough people to hold LA.
Yeah, that movie's completely unrealistic. And that was actually supposed to be Chris Hemsworth's first big blockbuster movie here in the US. And because they changed it from China to North Korea, that movie did awful.
Well, even then, I've said it before. A friend of mine, Owen Kuhn, he's an amazing artist. I've worked with him for like 20 years, so he's heard all my drunken ramblings. I went off one night about how with the collapse of the Soviet Union, we lost all the supervillains. China is not a supervillain. China is a shady guy selling you speakers out of the back of a van who might find you. Okay.
Yeah.
North Korean is the starving meth head down by the dock.
I was going to say, isn't North Korea supposed to be the starving meth head down by the dock that is like willing to suck dick to get their next hit? Because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And Russia is your drunken neighbor that's out there fist fighting with a deer. We lost. And then the EU is a collection of absolutely bumblefuck retards.
Yeah.
And the UK without the undying Queen Elizabeth is God knows what now. I think that fog nation is just going to like sink into the sea. And then
honestly,
the US,
they might go at it. They might actually have a civil war, in my opinion.
With the loss
I was going to say, with the death of Queen Elizabeth, like Charles isn't the most beloved monarch. But I don't know if you guys have seen that meme that the Warhammer guys did, where they actually created a 3D print of Lilibet, I forgot, it's something of Earth, but where she was the second in command to the Emperor, and it's basically Queen Elizabeth as a cyborg in her own golden tank. Like, I actually have the free download for it, and I'm going to go to the local library and get the 3D print of it because she passed away. I was like, that's going to be my little icon to Queen Elizabeth II. But yeah, like I think Europe, or not Europe, I'm sorry, the UK is a little fucked with Charles on the throne because he's not very liked.
Actually,
I don't know. You don't have to be liked.
I haven't seen shit about Charles being crowned or anything. All the focus that I've seen coming out of BBC has been on William. Like, that's all.
It's either William or her funeral. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the 9-hour funeral for Queen Elizabeth, and like as much as I'm an American, I actually cried. Those people are more upset that she died than her son becoming the new king. Like, they're really fucking tore up about it. I know Twitter says otherwise, but if you watch the news and not just the news, but social media, like, the country's really upset that she's passed away. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Yes, that's it. I'm actually getting that. I've got the download code for it. I just need to go find a DLC or a printer, a 3D printer to do it.
What a lot of people forget is Charles doesn't have to be liked. He's a king. If you don't like him, there's the coast. Start swimming.
Yep.
They forget he rules by divine fiat. And, you know, God, I see this. Oh, I didn't vote for him. It's a king. You don't vote for a king, you fucking retard.
I love how people say, like, I didn't vote for Charles to be my king. It's like, do you guys not understand how monarchy works? You stupid fucks.
Again, Monty Python. That's in Holy Grail.
Oh my God, that is one of the best scenes in Holy Grail. Was it Terry Jones and Michael Palin bitching to each other about how the king...
How they have a commune where they take turns ruling every fortnight, I think.
No, what got me about that whole rant, growing up, I always thought that was just some absurdist humor they had made up about how they run their government. How, you know, oh, no, we're an anarcho-syndicalist combat right now.
Yeah.
That is really what Antifa claims to be. That is, they were parroting actual communists.
And mocking them for it too. I just want to point that out. Like, that they were mocking them at that point. God, Monty Python predicted so much. It's kind of scary, actually.
Like the People's Republic of Judea.
A couple of weeks ago, we had our niece over, and they had never seen Monty Python, The Meaning of Life, so we put it on.
No.
And the predictions, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. These guys were like soothsayers or something. They picked up on all the social, like, things that were going on and predicted how the future were going to be. Because, the People's Judean Front, or the Front for the Judean People, is that what it was?
The Judean People's Front, the People's Front of Judea, there's the Popular Front of Judea, there was like all the different ones, and they all hated each other more than they hated the Romans.
Yeah,
we live in clown world. I mean, I figured out an easy way to figure out what's going to happen. You take the least likely thing that's going to fuck the most people, and that's what's going to happen. And so far, I've been right every time. It's kind of disturbing. I mean, something went wrong. But anyway, like I was saying, the whole fucking supervillain thing. And then America's turned into, you know, land of the what the fuck ever. And it's all because when the Soviet Union went down, we lost the supervillain status. You know, if you think about to the 80s, we didn't know that Russia was this big flaming junk pile. We thought they had like super science, you know, and cyborgs and talking monkey heads that, you know, they kept surgically alive and shit. No, they're a big flaming garbage pile.
Yeah, they are.
It's true. I mean, I remember growing up and thinking I was going to be nuked any minute, that like the Soviet Union was the big bad, and that, you know, any moment I was either going to be living Mad Max or the Terminator.
And now we don't even know those fucking things would have launched. God, how embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I would have to say that we got to give Reagan credit. He knew how to win a war against communists.
Outspend
them. Yes.
Yep.
You outspend them because you've got a better economy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, I found something out. After the wall went down, I was talking to some guys that were in the post across from us because they were right across the 1K zone. I was in an opposing forces spot, and there was Russians right across from us. And I talked to one of the guys, And I was like, we all heard like you guys could do shit like walk through walls and shit. We saw the videos where you guys do backflips and throw an axe and hit a target. He's like, yeah, that probably took that guy 20 times. I was like, yeah, but we thought like all you guys could do it. I said, and here we are, we're a bunch of drunken fucking morons. And he goes, you didn't see it from our side, did you? I'm like, no. He goes, okay, number one, our food shipments were irregular at best. Our uniforms are, usually a year or two old and often worn by somebody else. We have the same pair of boots for 5 or 6 years. He's like, I'm an officer. He goes, then we look across the 1K zone, and you guys are sitting out there throwing crackers at each other, smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. Your uniforms are all new. You guys would get drunk and fire off your machine guns. He goes, every bullet in the Soviet Union has to be accounted for to the point where you'll go to jail if you fire too many. He goes, I'm an officer. I've been in for 5 years. I have fired my weapon twice. He goes, you guys get drunk on the weekends and fire your machine guns at targets you put up and nobody cares. He goes, so what are we seeing? You guys have more training, more food, more uniforms, more tanks. He was like, I stood here and counted 100 tanks one day, all driving in a big circle while you guys played heavy metal on speakers. And you threw beer bottles at each other. I was like, it's called a rodeo, man. And so I looked at it from his side, and it must have been absolutely terrifying because he doesn't know we're drunken retards.
Is that the way to describe the American military? Is deep down they're just all drunken retards?
That's pretty much it. We used to always laugh. It's retards. It's retards all the way down.
Hey, drunken retards got us to the moon.
Yeah,
that's true.
Oh God, I still love that thing where one of the guys when Chuck Yeager was the first guy Armstrong. When Neil Armstrong was trying to decide what he was going to say on the moon, one of the other guys said, if you had any fucking balls, when you go out there, you'd wait till they could hear you and you'd go, what the fuck is that? What is that? Oh my God! And then scream and cut your mic. And then we'll all scream and cut our mics and we'll go radio silent for 20 minutes.
God, they should have done that for funsies. Oh, that would have been great.
Armstrong was like, do you want to go back to the entire world killing each other? That shit would have been funny.
Considering all the conspiracies about how we weren't really on the moon or they really did see aliens up there, because apparently there was a moment where the mics did cut out for a couple of seconds. So it's like that would totally feed into that shit.
The funny thing is you can get a laser and you can point it at a certain section on the moon and you can bounce it off of a reflector dish and have it come back.
Yeah,
so somebody was
up there.
That's cool.
Somebody was up there.
Well, I'm going to say that the moon landing is definitely not fake because I had family members that worked on certain parts of the shuttles and whatnot, and I believe them.
Fun fact, we had the technology to go to the moon. We didn't have the technology to fake it.
Yeah, that is true. That's what cracks me up is we didn't have the technology to fake it. So like all these people who believe that the moon landing is fake, I'm like, are you for fucking real?
Yeah.
Like if it was fake, you would have known. Have you seen Forbidden Planet? Come on.
Have you seen anybody try to keep a secret? I'm gonna let you in. I'm gonna let you in on conspiracies, right? What they do is a conspiracy is either right out in the open and nobody will believe it because it's so fucking ridiculous and they make everybody else sound ridiculous, or it never happens. I mean, can you imagine trying to get 1,000 people to all keep silent about the same thing for longer than 6 months?
Oh no, that the Russian, or I call them the Russians, but the USSR, the Soviets would have paid out of their nose to get somebody to come forward and be like, oh yeah, it was totally fake. Here's all the evidence. That's why, yeah. I know a lot of people love Christopher Hitchens, but my favorite thing was when he went up to Buzz Aldrin and said, you faked the moon landing. And that 80-year-old man knocked him the fuck out. That was beautiful.
Hitchens? I don't think it was Hitchens he did it to.
I thought it was Hitchens. I thought it was Christopher Hitchens that went up to him and was like, you faked the moon landing, and Buzz Aldrin knocked him the fuck out. I could be wrong. Like, maybe it wasn't Hitchens. I thought it was Hitchens.
All the way around.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. I remember seeing a video of that and laughing my ass off.
Oh, yeah, that was great. because Aldrin was old and he knocked the guy the fuck out.
Bart Sibrel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
Somebody
was
said
great
that
video.
was Hitchens.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Wait, was Hitchens the one that blew open? Not Coconut Grove.
Oh, that was Alex Jones.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The Moloch worshipping grove in Northern California.
Bohemian Grove.
Thank you. Yeah, that shit was kind of scary.
Everybody's
Actually,
known
no, not kind of. It really was.
Everybody's known about Bohemian Grove since like the 70s. I mean, I think there's even
Nixon
songs
went
about
there.
it.
He
I
was
think there's
public
even
about
songs.
it.
Well, I've told you about the Nixon tapes, right?
Which ones?
Which, yeah, I was gonna say, isn't there a few?
There's a tape of Nixon talking about Bohemian Grove.
Oh,
in
wow.
The Nixon tapes, and it's.
Oh, isn't that where he calls them all like pussies and shit?
It was great. He says he's talking to
What's his name?
Kissinger,
Yeah.
right? And he's like, "Let me tell you something, Henry. Don't go. Don't go to Bohemian. No. This bunch of fucking faggots. It's queers, the queerest damn thing I ever saw. Bunch of grown men running around naked in the woods like a bunch of fucking queers."
Oh my God, that sounds Nixon.
The funny thing is nowadays Nixon wouldn't have even been a scandal nowadays. We have so much shit going on. I mean, it's just, yeah. I stay away from politics because it's gotten to the point now where if you were okay, we're all writers here. I want you to imagine going back to 1995, and you take CNN movies, you take CNN video, and you take Fox video, and you take fucking the White House web pages back, and you show them to everybody and tell them you want to do a 20 minutes into the future dystopia. Every single Hollywood producer is going to look at you and say, "This is the most unbelievable shit I've seen in my life."
Well, the thing that got me, okay, was one of the recurring gags in 80s sci-fi was how stupid television was in the future. That was a common gag. We had that in RoboCop.
RoboCop was the best example of it.
And then there was Max Headroom, which was an entire series about how stupid television had gotten in the future. And it wasn't dumb enough.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Well,
We were
even
watching
go ahead, Kat. Sorry.
Just real quick. We were watching the episode where they were showing how they could do a subliminal, advertising, and they had the show Whack-Its. And Whack-Its, I swear, if it wasn't the same set that they filmed The Price is Right on, they got something that looked damn close to it. And it's just people running and jumping onto couch cushions for like an hour, played on a loop, and that's the entire show. And it was like the #1 ratings because they were using subliminal messages to get people to watch. It's like Whack-Its is smarter than a lot of the shit that's on TV right now.
Well, I was going to say, you can't do that on television. It came out in the 70s. And they really actually proved how stupid television makes you. That was the whole point of the show. I mean, they even said that, what was it? The opening title screen was like children's television sausage factory, and it was pouring out parts of the kids, putting them together.
What was great was the creator loved Monty Python, specifically Terry Gilliam's animation, and that's why he made it look like that.
There's
show's brilliant.
There's another thing that people didn't know about that show.
Yeah?
The people, let's see, the producers did not know that the guys, the head writer.
Oh, yeah.
The person that was writing it, who also played the janitor, the
Mm-hmm.
real sleazy dude.
He always played the adult.
Every adult character on that show was Les Lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a libertarian, and he kept slipping libertarian messages in there. And he was always ripping on unions and the Canadian government.
Yes.
Oh, it's on Paramount Plus right now because we have it for free. I've been watching the entire first season. Holy shit, there was one whole episode where they talked about strikes, like union strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great because
Bit?
Pardon?
Wasn't that a reoccurring bit where it would be the strikers and they were always striking about something stupid?
Well, that would be the kids in detention. They were also,
Yes.
this is how ahead of the time the show was, and you can't show it now. They had the firing squad to execute children.
Yeah.
Like, I remember detention, the firing squad, and Barth's Burgers. And like I said, I've been watching it. The first season is on Paramount Plus, so I've been rewatching it. I'm fucking loving it because it's ripping apart the way Canadians ran their government. It's great.
Well, have you seen some of the television that Canada's put out now? I mean, they actually made a PSA. I'm not shitting you. Look it up. They did a PSA that's a song about don't put weird shit in your mouth.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God,
No,
Canada's
I'm not
fucking
kidding. It's real.
Australia has it beat. Australia literally has PSAs about don't sleep in the road.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I know why it exists.
Yeah, but we won't get into it. But I mean, but they have to have PSAs. Don't sleep in the road because there's people dumb enough to sleep in the fucking road.
Okay, let's tell the truth here.
Okay.
It's because of Aborigines keep sleeping in the road. It's specifically the Aboriginal population.
Oh, really? Are they getting shit-faced and passed out in the road?
No, they drag their mattress outside and sleep in the middle of the road.
Whoa, why? That's crazy.
It's flat?
Aborigine.
Damn.
They're Aborigines. That's the answer.
Are you? Oh my God.
I mean,
yeah, they do a lot of things that we don't understand.
Yeah, they have their own society and culture.
Oh, Rogue Boner seen the don't put it in your mouth PSA.
Oh, God. How did we get here from PSAs about don't drill holes in the dam to don't put weird things up your butt?
Look, I remember PSAs about don't smoke crack. Like, I remember those in the late 80s.
I mean, we all remember the very special episode about Blossom's bloody panties. And how did we go from that to don't chew on moving tires?
By the way, I've watched a couple of news articles about the shop teacher who's trans and put in like J-cup tits that are actually distracting kids in class.
Oh my God, have you seen pictures of that shit?
Yes! Yeah. Like, okay, there's a difference between putting on prosthetics and then actually fetishizing, because that person, like, there's nipples poking out and they're wearing really short bike shorts. To me, that's not being trans. You're trying to, like, have your fetish be out in public.
You know what would fix that up quick?
People. What?
What would fix that up quick is if all those Zoomers out there,
those fake tits and a radial arm saw.
No, all those Zoomers out there would take to what Gen X did to any teacher who showed any deviation or weakness.
Mock them.
You rip the fuck out of them.
We made the biology teacher cry and run out of the room, and we never saw her again.
Oh shit! Who was the biology teacher at Scripps Ranch?
Well, okay, it was Blumenshine's class. Now, he was the best teacher ever. He actually saved my ass a couple of times from getting detention because he loved us. But they decided that they were going to put a student teacher in his class. And he was great because he'd sit in the back with his arms folded over his chest like a pimp. And it's like, yeah, let's see what you got. Because she thought she knew it all. She thought she knew better. And of course, by being better, she treated high school students like we were 4-year-olds. I'm going to give you a little sticker every time you answer a question right. And
she did not.
Oh, she did. And after a month and a half, she just came into class and like somebody threw a spitball at the board, and she just turned around and threw whatever she was holding in her hands on the ground and started screaming at all of us that we didn't know how hard it was, and that we were going to regret this day. And then she ran crying out of the room, and there was like that silence, and then all of us cheered all at once, including Blumenshine. And he's like, okay, now kids, you know that wasn't nice, right? And we're just snickering. We're like, yeah. He goes, okay, pretend we've had the talk. I have to go talk to the principal now. Just stay in the classroom and don't wander the halls till the bell.
Well, I told you about how in college I had the one teacher that would just go on and on about postmodernist writing, and we're doing, a writing major, and you've got this hippie bitch up there going on and on about how sentence structure and paragraphs are oppressive, that the only true form of
and exclamation points of penis.
The only true form of expression is stream of consciousness poetry. And
oh, I had that shit.
we tore her to fucking shreds in our finals. One after the next of us would get up, and our final performance where we were supposed to read a piece we'd wrote, so many of us wrote stuff where it was about how much her teaching sucked, or how.
Well, wasn't this the teacher that either wrote or knew the person who wrote?
She had us all buy her friend's book, Under a Tuscan Sky.
Sun.
Under
Tuscan Sun.
And one guy had gone on about how he'd used it for toilet paper.
Under a Tuscan Sun sounds like Star Wars fan fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, there now. See that's a movie I could have gotten behind. Instead, they did actually make it into a movie, which is about some rich bitch and how hard it is for her to get a date in Europe.
Yeah, it was Helen Mirren and Olivier Martinez. I remember when the movie came out.
I hate watching those movies, because I'm a dude and I'm ugly. Ugly's in. Never been a thing because I'm a guy. If God wanted me to be pretty, he'd have made me a girl. So, I'm watching these movies with people, and it shows this chick who's like got no physical flaws, no physical imperfections, and she's wealthy. She somehow supports herself living in a beautiful house in Manhattan with her cupcake business, with her bicycle delivered cupcake business somehow. And she's always going on and on and on again about how she can't get a date, right? And you look around her, and it's like you realize that like 2/3 of the people around you are dudes, right? And all you have to do to get a date, I mean, she's like, oh, I haven't had sex in 2 years. Well, how about you just bend over and pull your panties down, bitch, and you'll be fine. I mean, and then I've gone to the club with girls that like literally, their face is slightly lopsided because, reasons. And I never hear them go, oh, I can't get a date. I hear them go, I'm getting fucked tonight. And I watch these movies with sad upper middle class, lower upper class white women who can't seem to find a date. And it's like, you are literally the dumbest person alive. And I don't understand how people watch these. And my wife can't stand them because she's like, how are you supporting yourself?
Well, she's a real woman.
She's like, how are you supporting yourself with a cupcake delivery business in Manhattan? And then, of course, they've always got the gay best friend. Yeah. And of course, and then there's
the magical gay best friend.
Yes. And then there's the 4 guys who work for her to show she's a girl boss. And then, her neighbor who delivers wisdom. And don't forget, there's always the magical Negro who lives in the elevator.
Oh, God.
Apparently he lives in the elevator. And every one of these movies is exactly the same.
Oh, yeah.
Are these Lifetime or Hallmark movies?
No, these are actual movies.
Oh,
it's just Lifetime and Hallmark just stole the formula.
Oh, they've got that formula down so smooth. They've got the wine ants and cat girls locked in.
I miss the hybrid films where, it's like the action film, but there's something in it for the ladies too. Like Backdraft. Backdraft is an awful film, but I enjoy every second of it because it was designed to be, the action-packed film that you could take your girlfriend to.
Do you know why I didn't
say you had the Kurt Russell, which appealed to the men, and then you had the William Baldwin, which brought in the ladies.
Exactly.
Do you know why I didn't go see The Expendables in the theater? I didn't want to slip on the underwear. that was a chick flick that just happened to have guns in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Oh my God, you're fucking right. I just realized that I've never seen The Expendables, but the cast,
Watch it. It's a chick flick with guns.
It explains why my mom loved that movie so much. She'd watch it all the time. Okay. That's still one of the movies. We can show her the Expendables series, and she'll be totally chill while we show it to her. Yeah, now I understand.
I got another how to fuck with teachers story. Now,
go for
now
it.
I don't think there's any way kids could do this today, but the woman who raised me was a high school teacher. And let's just say that she was not well liked, despite what she'd tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to drive this little Honda Civic to work. And every once in a while, because the Honda Civic is not a very heavy car, the football team would all go out and lift her car up and carry it off.
Oh my God.
And put it in places on campus. Like,
I didn't know about that. That's hilarious.
That is so funny because I grew up in the exact opposite. My dad being a high school teacher, and he was one of the most popular teachers on campus. So whenever I saw him, his students were like flocking to him and are always telling me like how amazing he was. I'm like, yeah, right, whatever.
I
Like,
had my sophomore year, I had 6 months of in-school suspension straight.
holy
So,
shit.
I don't even remember who my teachers were my sophomore year.
Wow.
Look, to tell you how much my dad was beloved when he was a teacher at University City, when they would do the homecoming parade, the teachers were labeled emperor and empress. Every year he taught there, he was emperor of the school.
That's saying a lot for University City.
Exactly. And this is a man from East County who would drive 45 minutes there. And depending on how bad traffic was, an hour and a half back home. He loved University City. That was one of his favorite teaching jobs. But every year homecoming, he'd come home. Oh my God, my dad would fucking peacock. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Wearing he would rent a tuxedo, and he'd be wearing his sash that said, homecoming emperor. And he always loved it because it was always the newest, hottest female teacher was always voted empress. So here's my dad in like his 40s, like next to this like really hot like girl or woman in her young 20s on the homecoming float. Like he'd just come be like, yeah, this hot chick was next to me while I was emperor of the school. Just like, fucking A, Dad, come on. Of course, like I said, I'm looking at like, oh my God, this is my dad, this is so embarrassing. But yeah, like listening to Ishi talk about his mom being a high school teacher, I had the exact opposite experience. My dad was always one of the most popular people on campus wherever he went.
One of the things that really got on her nerves, I don't even want to call her my mother anymore, for obvious reasons, or maybe
I'm totally
everyone knows
there,
why.
man.
Yeah, everybody knows
The
why
adult
now.
female in the house.
The adult female, yeah. There was a couple times she had me come to her class and speak to her students about being a writer for a living, or talking about literature. And one of the things that her students loved and it pissed her off, was when my mom would talk to them like they were preschoolers, and talk about like Fahrenheit 451 or Shakespeare, or if there were different titles, and she'd say what they were about, and I would correct her and say, that's not what it's about at all. And her class would all start busting up.
You know what makes me sad is, Kat, you never had my dad. This is no bullshit.
No,
My
I
dad
didn't
would
have
have
him.
loved you as a student. Like, I'm not joking. Just like, from knowing you and knowing my dad, he would have absolutely adored having you in his class, because you would have challenged, because he liked to do Socratic seminar, and you would have challenged everything. And that's what he really liked. I'm just sad that you never got him as a teacher, because like I said, I know for a fact he would have loved you in his class.
I do regret that I didn't have him in any of my classes. I mean, I wouldn't have had him for PE or anything like that, because I was in the theater dance class. So I doubt he would have been having us do cats.
No, actually, I'm not gonna lie. He probably would have laughed at you guys.
Well, you know what? I do think though he did see us practicing when we were doing the Irish dancing. I do think that he saw us doing
Oh
that.
God, I remember that craze. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. But
Yeah.
hey, that is some good ass exercise.
I was gonna say that is actually a stamina builder, like trying to keep up with all the footwork and that dancing. So it looks silly, but you knew that those people were getting a workout.
Say what you want about river dance, but a bunch of buxom Celt girls jiggling up and down for an hour and a half sounded awesome to me.
Yeah.
I just thought it was weird because every once in a while, every like 6 months or so, we get a 4-day pass to go to Ireland, and I hung out in the wrong bars because I never saw any shit like that.
Oh,
I saw plenty of waking up in a barn, but I never saw any river dancing.
No,
Whenever I was
Yeah.
gonna say, whenever I think of river dancing, I think of Boondock Saints when what's his name, Willem Dafoe cracks a case. He's like, it makes me feel like fucking river dancing, and he starts river dancing. It's with the Russian mafia. They find the dead bodies.
I've never seen that film.
Oh
Oh, my heart hurts hearing that. You need to see that movie. It's so good.
I need it. Well, you said Willem Dafoe. It's like I need to be there. I need to see this.
Oh, he's great. He plays a flamboyantly gay FBI agent that cracks the case, and he is so good in it.
That was what are you, a fag? Get off me.
Yeah, when he sleeps with the gay guy, he's like, I just want to cuddle. He's like, what are you, a fag? Like, oh my God.
You're now like making me, I'm getting like crossovers in my head, and I'm seeing Willem Dafoe doing the Michael Flatley drinking in the praise that he does at the end of every dance. Where it's just there isn't enough like air on the planet to account for how much he is so full of himself. I mean, he's a good dancer, and it's all earned, but damn, he looks like he just he can't breathe because he's too full of himself at the end of every fucking dance.
I will say it never bothers me. I've met scientists, I've met engineers, that have done, amazing fucking work that were full of themselves. I never had a problem with that. I never had a problem with athletes who were full of themselves. But I've got to say, this new crop of full of themselves people really get on my fucking nerves.
Well, what have they achieved?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I have 500,000 followers on Twitter, and one time my tweet was retweeted by a famous person. And that's why I'm better than you. You're not better than my cat. My cat brought home a dead mouse. He wins.
I bet if I set up a profile right this very second just with pictures of my rats, I could get more clicks.
I don't know. I tried social media and it did not work for me. I don't do well, mainly because I got no goddamn filter to my brain, and I always say the wrong thing to somebody with like 1 million followers that infuriates them so bad they'll sick all of their followers on me. Never fails.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We need more people without filters, though. Honestly, like I think that we have a very pussy society right now.
Oh, we do.
And we definitely need more people without filters. Because, like sometimes I need somebody to knock some sense into me and be like, Ginell, shut the fuck up. You sound stupid.
Well, one of my Twitter accounts, they have never, they will not answer any emails for that account. They will not give me a reason why it's suspended. But I was talking shit about, I think I was talking shit to Ed Greenwood, and I was talking shit to somebody else. And I was on friendly terms with Ed Greenwood. He's a little bit of a pervert, but he's a cool guy. And I was talking shit. I think it's Margaret Weiss, who Dragonlance, and somebody told me, well, why don't you invent your own? Why don't you invent your own campaign setting if you can do it? And I started, and in the chat, Owen Kuhn has got to be fucking laughing his fucking ass off, because this is how half the story starts. So I was drunk, but I started building this campaign setting. And I'd included the god. I'd gotten around. I'd finished the gods. I'd started putting up maps. I'd done the kingdoms, and I was through history, and I was down to placing where the major monsters were. Your monstrous kingdoms and everything. And all of a sudden, boom! I'm suspended. No reason given. Nothing. No reason given at all. And it was pretty crazy because, believe it or not, that account got up to, I think it got up to just over 150,000 followers. And I mean, every time I put something, be it a link to a map or whatever, well, I just upload the maps to Twitter because I'm really lazy. And it would get like 5,000-10,000 fucking likes in like an hour, and just out of the blue, boom, suspended. And I have written to him and I've been like, why did you suspend this account? No answer. I've never gotten an answer. And I had somebody go, well, maybe you were suspended because you were harassing Ed Greenwood. I was like, I wasn't harassing Ed Greenwood when I told him I seriously wanted to know the Queen of Silvery Moon, does she prefer Elven Mist silk or does she prefer ethereal silk for her panties for the orgy parties? This was a dead serious question, and he answered me. He goes, well, she prefers astral silk. Boom.
Good
Answer.
for him. You know,
It was a bet.
That's
You
a
know,
legit question from anybody who plays fucking D&D or any other tabletop RPG.
I
You
wish I
want to
could,
know.
You do want to know.
I wish I could say I had asked someone a question that cool. I mean, I guess my big one was shaming or embarrassing the shit out of the dude from Bad Religion on accident.
I called bullshit on Garth Nix, and I love his writing.
No, when the dude from Bad Religion, he got all preachy.
Yeah.
And I embarrassed the shit out of him.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think the only time I asked a question like that I was very happy about was Bill Corbett of MST3K, the guy who did Crow T Robot.
You know, he purchased. Okay.
I sent him a tweet once where I said, Bill, do you ever wake up in the middle of the night screaming, reaching for the puppet that isn't there?
Cold.
Actually, back to the Case File Arkham campaigns, both 1 and 2. So,
do either of you remember R.A. Salvatore? Know who he is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Way back when AOL was really big and TSR had the AOL chat room, R.A. Salvatore used to come into the chat room and BS with people. And it was like 2 a.m. I was living in Olympia, going to college, just being my drunken self. And I asked him, I was like,
did you go to Olympia College or to Evergreen?
No. I went to Centralia.
Okay, good.
I didn't qualify for Evergreen because, poor white trash. And
how do you not qualify for Evergreen?
Poor white trash.
Oh, okay. You're white, basically. Yeah, there you go.
GI Bill, poor white trash. You don't qualify for Evergreen. You're not even allowed on. You can. Well, I'm not allowed on Evergreen campus ever again. But anyway.
Anyway.
But where was R.A. Salvatore? So I'm sitting there. It's like 2 a.m. and he's up for some reason. I think it was like one of his kids or something. And I asked him, I was like, "So did you ever play?" I said, "I got to know because too many authors for D&D don't play D&D. Do you play D&D?" He's like, "Yeah, I play it all the fucking time." I'm like, "Your DM ever really let you play a drow character?" He goes, "Once." I was like, "I got to hear this." He goes, he let me roll it up. I played a drow ranger. I shot a goblin in the ass with an arrow, and I followed into a cave, and it turned into an ogre magi and killed me with the cone of cold. And my DM looked at me and said, "Now write up a real character." And I've always thought that was funnier than shit. And I remember, God, by about 2000, he hated the series. He hated it.
Oh, the Drizzt series?
He hated the Drizzt series.
Well, okay. Explain to me the significance of the whole thing with drow, because my experience is playing D&D were like in junior high and high school, and it was basically little shits doing shithead things in shithead gaming,
Oh, that's perfectly normal. As a matter of fact, that is D&D in its purest form.
Yeah.
No, drow were never meant to be player characters in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, they were originally from a module. And they always make a big thing of, they show those half-naked drow women, and it's just for, and it's just for titillation. I'm going to say this as a first edition and a second edition player. If you were playing the game, and let's say your character, your party, you and your friends are going, you have 12th level characters, which back then was on the very high end of power, and all of a sudden your DM gets a big grin and holds up a picture of like 4 drow chicks in chainmail bikinis with spiderweb nipple coverings. And there's like 6 of them. Your party is dead.
Dead.
Yeah,
the drow females were buff because weren't they a matriarchal society where they enslaved the males?
Yeah, but if you look at it from mechanics, they were all fighter magic user clerics, fighter magic user thieves, magic user thief cleric. Yeah. They were all multi-classed, and they weren't bound by maximum class level by race. And so they were just hell on wheels. I mean, one good drow matron with a half dozen male slaves could wipe out a 15th level party without breaking a sweat. She'd usually open up with blade barrier, and now you're fucked.
Okay, I'm gonna end this because we need to eat dinner.
Oh.
We haven't eaten dinner yet, but real quickly before we do, just to give everyone a sense of the kind of D&D I played in high school, was the party was primarily made up of dumb barbarians and anti-paladins.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine it was just carnage.
Yeah.
That sounds like fun.
All right. So
sounds like fun.
we should call it a night. This was incredibly fun.
Yes, as always.
Yep. I'm still really drunk.
It is good. I kind of feel like I should have joined you, Ginell, or at least gotten a little, a little bit. My day wasn't shit, but I got called a deplorable by one of my clients. So
fuck. Well, that person needs to shut the fuck up. I know you're not a deplorable.
No, he did. He.
I don't know. It's kind of weird that with pride. I mean, fuck Hillary Clinton.
Hey, Audible. I was interviewed by them too, and that was a fun interview.
Really?
I didn't do well.
Oh.
Let's talk about that. I mean, honestly, you should get your books to audio. There are three audiences. There are people who only read print. There are people who only read Kindle, and there are people who only do audio.
The problem with Audible is they want you
and
to...
And then there's Tessa Fowler. But
the problem with Audible,
they want you to delay your release until they get done recording. And at the rate I'm putting stuff out, I mean, number one, I'm 50 years old. If I'm over 50, if I wait for them to take a year to 18 months per book, I'm going to be 80 by the time they put out the last book. So no.
That must be a new thing because
what it is Audible's offering to do it for him.
No, I know that what I'm saying is that must be a new thing because the last time I looked at their parameters, they didn't have that provision. So
that was last year, and that was in the interview. That was
again, he's going. That would be directly through Audible.
Mm-hmm.
If he did his own production, it wouldn't matter.
No, that's what I'm saying is if Audible did it, they didn't have that provision before. That's what I'm saying.
It was kind of funny, and then they're like, "Oh, and we kind of want to get with you on the cover," and it's like, "I got a cover artist, thanks."
That's how they nickel and dime you out of your money.
I was just gonna say that too.
And she wouldn't give me an answer on how much I would make per download.
That's not good.
No, if you do Audible, really, the way to go, get your own recording. Hire your own voice actor. We can tell you who to go to if you need mastering and upload it yourself.
That's probably what I do. I'm not going to read it because, I sound like I'm barely smart enough to fucking get the lid on a can. Nobody wants to hear my dumb ass talking. Or reading them a story. Here, I'll read you a bedtime story, kid. Oh, man.
Well, we can talk about that later. There are people we can recommend.
Yeah, definitely.
See, I got no idea who to go to. So I take it a homeless Chet down by the rail yard isn't the guy I should have recorded.
Well, I don't know how insulated is the shed.
Yeah, that's a point. And with the railroader strike, it's going to be quiet down there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.